We're talking, can companies require workers to get the COVID vaccine? Require it. And what should happen if employees refuse? Should they get fired, suspended? What if it's at a hospital? Well, that is exactly the situation at this hospital in Houston, which is requiring its entire staff, which is around 26,000 employees, to be vaccinated. But around 120 of them have refused. And now those workers have been suspended and could be fired. Here's what some of them are saying about it.
I work in the ER, so it was crazy during the whole COVID pandemic, and it's like we were short-staffed, over capacity with patients. Like, it was just a lot for them to kind of do this to us, kind of like a slap in the face, or that's how I felt.
They need to give people choices. They can't force things upon people that they're not comfortable with.
Or can they? Some of these employees are now suing, saying the vaccines are, quote, experimental, and it's unfair to make them mandatory. Now, meantime, the hospital says they're trying to keep everyone safe, and it's unfortunate that it's being overshadowed by a few disgruntled employees. Does anyone here on the panel think you can't make it mandatory for a private company for your employees to be vaccinated? Does anyone disagree with that?
I don't want to say there's obviously the legal stance,
sure,
but I think that it really comes down to the culture of the company. You have a situation where what they said 2,500 employees.
26, yeah.
And 125, so that's what, 5%. Wasn't that what herd immunity was about? And when you're talking about the culture of a company, that's telling you as an employee what type of employer you want to work for. And a lot of people feel like this infringes on HIPAA.
On a personal rights as well, yeah.
Listen, I'm all about free choice, letting people do what they want to do. I'm all about less government governing.
Well said, Jeff. Well said.
But I don't want them telling me what to do all the time. And I think if you mandate this, it's just a step in the direction of what's next. What's next? I don't like having that government control over me. But you have to break these up. One's a hospital, one's a regular job place, right?
Right.
At a job place, there might be people that are immunocompromised going in there, and I feel like if you didn't get that vaccine, it might further harm that person. So I think it's a different conversation to have in a workplace and in the hospital.
So don't you think people in hospitals are the most immune compromised?
Yes.
So you're saying it's okay for a hospital, but maybe not for an office.
120 people don't want to get them at the hospital. And if you come in and you're immunocompromised and that person wasn't vaccinated, that could be a further problem.
Yes.
Right.
Al?
Yeah, I mean, we saw this. Remember gyms and hair cutteries? People were saying, like, we can't open
because... It's called a salon. What's wrong with everyone?
Hair cutteries?
I don't know.
Take it back to the
I didn't know what a hair cuttery was.
Yes. So
the job place.
Those are all places that are optional. But Tori, you love somebody that's immunocompromised. For the chances that somebody in a hospital will be immunocompromised are elevated and almost guaranteed that there's a reason why you're in there. And you don't get the same choice as the person that does when they say, I want to be vaccinated or not. When you're being airlifted somewhere, they don't go, hey, would you like a choice on whether somebody, you don't have that option. So in that case, it's unfair. So in a place where somebody cannot advocate for themselves, I'd say that the person should be forced to be immunized.
That's fair.
But only in this situation. Other than that, private business, do what you want.
I would go way further. I would have a federal mandate. I think this is a state of emergency and a public health pandemic, and therefore that trumps the personal rights issue that's going on. And the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, agrees with me.
We're familiar.
Oh, wow.
We're not.
Okay.
No one's ever heard of that.
But that, like, isn't that kind of infringe on your free speech and your, not free speech, but you know what I mean?
Freedom of expression, of course, I hear you, and religious exceptions and all of that. I would simply say that in an emergency situation, the risk and reward of saving lives is more important than those personal rights. Now, a lot of you will disagree with me on that.
The Constitution girl disagrees with the Constitution.
But what about schools?
I agree. I think it has to be mandated. I do. I think it should be a federal mandate across the country, but I can't wait to hear your comments.